Hello, what's up, and welcome to The Weekender. This is the show where we wear different shades of blue. I mean, talk football.
All light shades of blue.
We talk about the biggest football games of the weekend. And I'm Max, joined by Bobby and Lexi. And we're going to get started like right away because, we want to talk about something very serious. As football fans, as diehard football fans, we understand the plight of your football team not performing well, not performing up to your high expectations. And I asked Bobby to speak to a particular fan base, that fan base being USC fans, USC Trojans. I've lived in LA for a year and I've been amongst you and I hear your cries. And Bobby is the one guy on our show that can empathize specifically with you because his favorite football team, the Oklahoma Sooners, were once coached by Lincoln Riley, your head coach. So, Bobby, I'm giving you the floor to address the USC Trojans fans and motivate them and tell them what to feel in this moment after they took a very big loss to Notre Dame in South Bend.
Thank you, Maxwell. Look, there are some folk who might be beneath, who might say it's a little too low to say, I told you so, or you should have seen this coming, or it wasn't sour grapes when we said this, you should have listened to us, and now you're feeling this pain. Look, if I were a lower person, I would say all of those things, but I'm not. So USC and your fans, I'm here to tell you, it's okay, I can't tell you it's going to be okay. But what I can tell you is eventually it's going to be okay. Lincoln Riley just does this to you. He gets you excited, gives you all these flashy new cars, these cool toys. Oh, look at this quarterback. He's going to win the Heisman. And if you like Heismans, that's great. That's fun. And you can never take away that Caleb Williams Heisman. That moment, those moments were great. But frankly, we have Lincoln Riley just cap out at a single point. And you get to this point where the defense isn't good enough, and all you have is that flashy offense. So if you're okay with that, that's fine. But I'm here to tell you, it's you're not going to win a national championship playing like that. Just not going to happen. You're going to get just close enough. You're going to completely collapse whenever someone punches you in the mouth. And Lincoln Riley's not going to take any credit. He's not going to take any blame for it. He's just going to sit there and say we're really close. He's going to say we're close. We're doing good. Alex Grinch isn't that bad. And it might be a little weird at first, might be a little annoying, but he's going to keep saying it over and over and over again. And look, if you're a Hollywood, all flash, no substance, that's fine. You can keep Lincoln Riley. And besides, he's probably going to run off later to the NFL once his stick is caught on to. So, look, at least you have that to look forward to. And, look, I can't bring up the Dodgers. They didn't do that great either. The Lakers, well, everyone's getting old there. Look, you have the beach. There's that. You have the beach. You have the beach. So we don't have that. We're a bunch of country bumpkins. We don't even have the beach. So look, when things get bad, just say, well, we live in a place where there's so much better stuff to do and y'all don't understand, yada, yada. It's, in Los Angeles, we could go to the beach. We don't have to worry about, underperforming sports teams, which is, what you did when you were bad. And you're not bad anymore. You're just okay. And until you get rid of Lincoln Riley, you'll just be okay. So, I mean, that's kind of the bright spot on the horizon. Maybe he will get rid of Alex Grinch one day. Just keep telling yourself that. But until now, you have the beach. And that's more than some of us can say. Motivation.
Thank you, Bobby. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Love that. Definitely have that for all the Trojan fans watching this. You will always know that someone can relate to you.
I can't relate to having a beach. Can't relate to having a beach.
Okay, That was great. All right, this is about the midseason of the college football season. So, want to get to some midseason awards, and you know what? Since we're being so nice today here on the Weekenders, I decided to um, give all of us, mostly me, a chance at a college football playoff prediction do over because some of
I'm
our
only replacing one team, so good on me.
that's why I said mostly me. It's mostly my picks that have gone by the wayside. But yeah, a chance to do them over and take a look back at what we had in the preseason. But yeah, so let's start. Let's kick it off with the mid-season Heisman. Lexi, why don't you go first?
My boy JJ's climbing up them ranks. No, but if we're being honest, I'm loving Michael Penix right now. And that way that he just marched down that field and got that win for his team. I mean, it was like a miss field goal or whatever, but like the way that he just took control there, he's great. And I just don't see any reason for anyone to be above him at this point. So he's my pick.
Yeah, Michael Penix, best performance from an injured player since Greg Jennings in Madden 2010. When he ran at 98 yards with a broken leg. If you know, you know.
I do.
Put the team on his back. Greg Jennings.
Greg
No,
Jennings
Michael
was a
Penix.
beast.
Oh yeah, he was great in real life, but that Madden game, that was an all-time performance. But look, it's probably Greg Penix right now. Greg Penix, oh my God, Michael Penix. Got Greg on my mind. It's Michael Penix. I think he's on pole position just because of what we've seen him do all season. His numbers have been just ludicrous, video game like, one might say. I think Dylan Gabriel has a better moment. I think it's Gabriel and Penix, if you ask me, like a 1 versus 2. But right now, I feel like Gabriel doesn't quite have the full resume against that grade of players. So I'm going to give the edge to Penix right now just because of the sheer amount of crazy stats. But keep an eye out for old Dylan Gabriel there.
Yeah, I like both of those answers. I think Gabriel has a case. Michael Penix Jr. obviously has a great case. That's probably who I would say is the leader as well. I was just looking through the stats. I mean, like it's still unbelievable. And I know we just did that thing about USC, but like it's still unbelievable that like Caleb Williams has like 29 total touchdowns. Like that's absurd. Jaden Daniels out in LSU has like 2,500 passing yards. Like there's some crazy stats out there through the midseason. I just want to say, as um, as a like North Carolina fan I will unashamed unashamedly promote my guy right now and just say that while Drake May definitely is not like should be a favorite right now, like that's he doesn't the Heels are 6-0, but the numbers aren't there. I get that, but the stretch that we're about to have in our schedule is one that I think North Carolina that other teams have had earlier in their season, and North Carolina just got it late. So Tar Heels are going to play Virginia, Georgia Tech, and Campbell for the next 3 weeks. This earlier in the season, we had not like great teams, but like those middle of the road teams that are still going to give you a tough out, like South Carolina, Minnesota, Syracuse, and Miami were one loss teams when they came and played us. So I think to begin with, UNC's had a tougher schedule than some of these other guys have had at their schools. Save for Dylan Gabriel, who, Texas is a top 5 team when you play them. But yeah, I mean, the stretch of like, cupcake teams that most quarterbacks had in the beginning of the season, the Tar Heels are about to have for the next 3 weeks. So that if you're, a Drake May Heisman better or just a Carolina fan or whatever, watch out for these next 3 weeks because it's going to be an opportunity for his stats to balloon, especially with Tez Walker in the lineup. So I will leave that there. Biggest surprise this season. biggest surprise in college football?
Biggest. Go ahead. You got it, Lexi.
Yeah, I don't even like. I mean, I guess we talked about even like Duke being good and stuff, but biggest surprises. I'd feel like 'cause I know we're going to talk about letdowns, but um, you know, I really don't know about like a biggest surprise. I feel like everything for the most part's been going pretty good. But what do you have, Bobby?
Yeah, biggest surprise to me. That's a tricky one. I think, look, in my own kind of micro area of college football, with the Big 12, it's the fact that the newcomers have been this bad. Only one of them has a win over the other new Big 12 teams. That was a bit of a surprise that they were that bad. Um, I feel like Texas Tech and Baylor also being bad, also shocking to me, specifically just how bad Baylor is. So that's coming to mind in my brain. But this is a national college football podcast, and people want national type of takes. Wasn't stunned about USC, obviously. I guess it's just the lack of dominance in the SEC overall. The SEC just hasn't been the meat grinder that we've known it. LSU looks off. Alabama looks off. Georgia, I mean, look, they're winning their games and everything, but they aren't looking remarkable like they have in years past. So I'll say overall the SEC.
Yeah, no, I mean, if we're talking overall surprises, I thought like the next one's gonna be like this biggest letdown. But yeah, I would even say Clemson too, like just kind of falling short in games I didn't think they would, and not kind of dominating in the way that I thought they would as well. But
yeah, wait, I totally screwed that up.
No, I mean we can combine it. We can combine it. I mean, it could be the same thing. I probably could have worded it better, but I mean, for me, I would say like if we're talking about a positive surprise, like the parody is awesome. Like I actually really enjoy that. Like there's been like like jumps in terms of like who we focused on. There's so much variety, like you said, with the no dominant teams thing. Like it makes the SEC still interesting because Alabama, we counted them out. They could still have something to say about the SEC. We know the Pac-12 is loaded. We know the ACC. There's still sort of a battle at the top, and the Big 12 as well, and there's still a lot to be said about what could happen. The Big 10 we'll talk about in a second. Like there's a lot of parity still this at this point in the season. So as a college football fan, like especially with as a fan with a team with a dog in the fight, like I absolutely love it. So that'd be my surprise. And like you guys have mentioned the letdowns, we already know, Clemson.
USC for me too, because
USC,
I was like, yeah, they're going to the playoffs, and where's that defense? Come on.
Yeah, I will say
like you're about to get
teams.
torched next year in the Big Ten.
Oh yeah, look, positive teams though. Look, there's only one, Oklahoma, right there. I don't think anyone, even me at my most optimistic, didn't see this happening. That's something that I think is shocking what Venables has done.
Yeah, the dominance. Like I knew you guys were going to be a lot better, but like I did not see the just flat out killing opponents.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what? And I wasn't on the show last week, so props for your little reverse thing, Bobby, on beating Texas.
Thanks. It went well.
Reverse lock of the week.
I did think Texas was going to win a little bit, if I'm going to be honest, but I couldn't pick OU.
Yeah.
I couldn't pick OU because it never goes well, so had to hit them with the little reverse. But
yeah, that was a savvy move. Yeah, might cost shit in the lock of the week standings, but definitely savvy for sure. Okay, so as I alluded to before, it's mid-season, so I'm giving everyone, again, especially me, a chance to do over their college football playoff predictions. So, all right, here's who we had in the beginning of the season. We predicted who would go to the college football playoff. I had Georgia, Notre Dame, Michigan, and Utah. Bobby had Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and Clemson, and Lexi had Georgia, Michigan, USC, and UNC. Um, so yes, so this is our chance to now do a redo of those predictions. Um, and so, who wants to? Is anyone dying to go first?
I'll go.
I can
I
go. Okay, you go,
Oh no,
Bobby. You go.
I'll start on this one. So I still have the Georgia Bulldogs #1. I just don't think that anyone's going to really beat them. Frankly, I don't think Tennessee has it. I don't think Alabama has it. Even without Brock Bowers, potentially, I think they run the slate, finish #1. #2, I'm going to go with the Michigan Wolverines. Um, and I think 2 through 4 could be interchangeable, but this is just my prediction. So I got Michigan sitting there second. Home field advantage against Ohio State is obviously amazing. Have a really, really tough one going to what's it called, Beaver Stadium, Happy Valley, at Penn State. That's going to be tricky, but if they survive that, I think they beat Ohio State in the game, win the Big Ten. Third, I'm going with the Oklahoma Sooners. Cakewalk of a schedule the rest of the way. You have to play Texas again, probably, but then again, they might trip up. They don't have any margin for error. So if UT loses to a Texas Tech, a Kansas State, they go on the road to Iowa State. We all know that's weird. That's always a spooky time. Texas could lose there. And then fourth, I have the Florida State Seminoles. I just feel like even if they trip up somewhere along the way, I think they're better than Clemson. I think they're better than UNC. And I think that's going to be it. So Clemson, Florida State Sugar Bowl, OU, Michigan, Rose Bowl. Who says no? That sounds wonderful.
My heart. Okay. No. So my locks are still going to be, I'm in Georgia #1. I just see, cupcake schedule, wins all the way out. Michigan, I think that it's just our year for it. We'll be the second seed. Third and fourth can be interchangeable. I'm still rocking with UNC. I still think they can pull out a win over Florida State, whatever happens in the ACC championship or whatever. I like UNC's odds of going fully undefeated. I'm still rocking with them. That last one is going to be crazy, because you got Washington. You have, even like Oregon at a 1 loss. Oklahoma, Texas. I'm not really sure quite yet, but I would lean towards Oklahoma at the most at this point, only because that Pac-12 is going to probably knock off Washington. I feel like, it's going to be kind of like a toss-up, and I don't think a 1-loss Washington gets in. But, yeah, I've got Oklahoma. Underestimated them against Texas. I think that they'll end up pulling out again in the championship, which would be a doozy. So, give me Oklahoma as that fourth. That'll be interesting, Bobby. That's 2 and 4.
Well, you would still have UNC in there too, so we would have all 3 of our teams in the CFP. So
that would be so awesome, though. That would be so awesome. And I'm serious. I think that the rest of us can go undefeated the rest of the way. And I'm not just trying to be nice. It's going to be crazy.
I could see it. It'd be pretty cool. It'd be excellent content. Oh my god.
We'd all be so tense,
for the vibes. All right, so I originally had Georgia, Notre Dame, Michigan, and Utah. Notre Dame really annoys me because I feel like they should definitely at this point be competing for a playoff, but obviously 10 men on the field against Ohio State, and then you get ran through by Louisville on the road. Obviously they have no chance. And then I think Utah, this Cam Rising thing is really weird. We'll talk about that later, but obviously they don't have a shot. So my top 4, I'll still say Georgia. Now could Georgia get in the SEC championship by an Alabama or LSU? I think so, but I'm not. It would have to I just feel like defensively they still have it, and I don't really trust the offense of Alabama to be better than Georgia's defense for a game of that magnitude. And then LSU as a team, I don't really think they're not giving me like the stability vibes of like being able to make it all the way through. So I think Georgia will be able to pull it out and stay unbeaten, to remain in their spot, um, at the college football playoff. Now, but I say that, and I started with Georgia, but I do think that Michigan will actually be the number one team. I think Michigan currently has would be my number one team, and the way Georgia has played this year, I don't see the committee ranking them in that number one spot. So if we're going by going by the actual spots and not just naming teams, I think Michigan would be the number one team over at Georgia just based on play. And then Michigan, obviously, they have to beat Penn State and Ohio State. Those are two teams that are going to be highly ranked. So Michigan's just going to have the best resume in the country, if they come out of this, save for like Washington or something if they went out. So yeah, I'm going to go Michigan at number one. Number two then I would say is Georgia. Um, I don't think they would fall lower than that unless they lose. Um, my number three team, I actually think Texas. Um, it's so hard to beat a team twice, and that Oklahoma game was so close. Uh, Obviously, there's not really a home advantage in the Big 12 championship, even though the game is in Texas. But I'm I'm actually gonna uh, I'm gonna zag the other way and say Texas pulls out the Big 12 championship and gets a playoff bid. There they could be 3 or 4. And then my fourth team, um, I think I struggle between like the Pac-12 and the ACC for this one. I do think that the Pac-12 is just gonna cannibalize itself. It's just inevitable. Like Washington's a good team, but it took a missed field goal and a couple of not like missed fourth downs for them to beat Oregon. They needed some luck there. Oregon, I think, could be a one-loss Pac-12 champion, but it's going to be tough for them too. So I just don't see anybody making it out of the Pac-12. The most likely candidate in this spot for me, and I hate to say it, I really do, but it's going to be Florida State just based on their schedule. It's hard. It's going to be hard to see them lose again. They're about to play Duke this weekend without Riley Leonard. UNC, I they are exactly what I thought they could be at the beginning of the season. A really good offense and a top 40 defense, which is literally all you need for that team to be successful, which is why they're 6-0. Like that defense has improved dramatically from last year. But as much faith as I have in that team, like I have to see them beat Clemson in Clemson for me to be like, okay, yeah, this team is going all the way. So it sucks that I don't have that faith yet, but it's one of those things is we have to see it to believe it, and because we don't know that yet, then I just can't see them like I can see them getting to the ACC championship and beating a Florida State. Sure, that like I can talk myself into that, but they might trip up before then, and then who knows after that. So I will give Florida State the respect and maybe also a Bobby Howard reverse jinx and put them at the fourth spot in the CFP right here. So yeah, those are my four: Michigan, Georgia, Texas, and Florida State. All right, that was fun. Uh, and let's get into the games. All right. The first game we're going to talk about is Penn State at Ohio State. It's the big noon kickoff. It's college game day. It is the game of the weekend. Ohio State favored by 4. Over under is 46.5. This is like not a like classic quarterback clash. It's a really good quarterback versus an okay quarterback. But Ohio State has a lot of weapons, and Penn State just has a guy that people are talking about could be the number one pick next, not this spring, but in the next draft, 2025 or whatever. So, with that said, I ask you, who has the edge, Drew Aller or Kyle McCord?
I'm going to go with Kyle McCord on this one. I think, one, he's already kind of done it in a tough game. Penn State's biggest game probably so far was West Virginia, which actually turned out to be kind of a spicy team. And McCord did it against Notre Dame, though. At Notre Dame, got that win. So to me, I feel like McCord, especially when you're at home, you're at the shoe, not having to face a whiteout. I think that gives him the edge. Both young quarterbacks have been incredible, though, to start the season.
Yeah, I mean McCord definitely has, the the like more pressure, like under pressure and succeeding from that, but I don't know. I mean, like if we're talking even about like talent and who has, better weapons to throw to as well, yeah, you're gonna take McCord all day. But I'll give them the slight edge, but I'm not underestimating what Aller can do in this game. I think he's gonna go off a little bit more than what people are thinking, or at least what Buckeyes are thinking.
Yeah, this is the game where like you would like want a better quarterback. Like you want to be able to hang your hat on like our guy's the best guy on the field. Um, that's kind of one of these games where you want that. I mean, Kyle McCord, like he's no CJ Stroud, but I would probably give him the slight edge only because of being at home, being comfortable. If you don't have the best quarterback on the field, you at least would be able to say, okay, our guy is in a comfortable environment. He has all these weapons. If he follows the game plan and doesn't make any mistakes, he can win. I think obviously talent is on the other side, but familiarity, comfortability, it being at home, I think that gives Kyle McCord a little bit of an edge. Um, Lexi, I wanna shoot you this question because you have experience with this, just last year as uh, somebody who was watching a Michigan team having to go into the shoe and win that in an important game last year. So like, how should Penn State approach playing in Columbus?
I mean, it's got to be on Franklin too, because he can just be such a bonehead when it comes to playing his rivals and top teams on the road. And I know, like, only just so long ago, I had the same problem I could say about Harbaugh. I just think he needs to make better decisions, and that's what it's going to come down to. The plays he's running, I think they can run hand in hand with him. I'm telling you, I really do think this Penn State team is good, but um it's going to come down to the coaching and just not making mistakes. Like when you're playing a team against, in Ohio, in Columbus at the shoe, it's one of the hardest places to play. You just can't be making any mistakes. You can't be fumbling the ball. You can't be having any turnovers. And you just got to make smart calls on the plays. So, there's been a couple times where Franklin's had opportunities to beat Ohio State, at the shoe even, and it comes up short. So, it's going to come down to those two things, just taking care of the ball and not calling dumb plays.
I mean, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
It's
Bobby,
just,
yeah. No, go ahead.
Well, I mean, look, Penn State obviously has had really poor success against Ohio State overall. I mean, their last win in this series was in 2016. They only have one win in the past, let's say, 10 years. They beat them in 2011 in Columbus, but that was the year where Ohio State was, up in
Michigan
flames.
beat Ohio State that year.
Yeah, total disaster of a year. So really, the last time they beat a proper Ohio State team was 2008. Joe Paterno was the head coach. So yeah, I mean, they just do not have a good history in the shoe at all. Franklin obviously poor in big games. I'm sure he doesn't have a great record in Ann Arbor, does he? Does he, Lexi?
No,
Yep.
he like what we switched off for a while, but he's terrible against his rivals. Like he has like one of the worst percentages against like Michigan State, and Ohio State. So it's like he's almost in the same position Harbaugh was a couple of years ago, where you're like, you got to get this win. You need to beat your
Yeah.
rivals. Like don't beat Michigan, but beat Ohio State this year, and people start actually taking you serious.
Yeah. I'm not. I don't know. There's just something going on. Some sort of funk. So I don't know, just trying to, I don't know, just treat it like it's a normal game. Maybe try to silence Ohio State early. It's a big noon kickoff, so these people haven't, will be a little grumpy. They haven't been fully fired up. I know sometimes those Ohio State students can get things going up at like 5 a.m., but we'll see how it goes. I think they're probably overmatched here. Uh-oh.
Ooh. We lost Max. Oh, there he is.
There he is.
All right, am I back?
He disappeared,
Yep.
just like James Franklin in the big game.
Oh my god!
It was right there. I had to take it.
It was. I was knock it out of the park.
You're good. It's I mean, I think you guys hit it on the head. Like if you're, any team, obviously James Franklin has a reputation, but if you're any team going on the road against your rival, being able to execute and make smart decisions, timeouts, being disciplined, not committing penalties, turnovers, all that stuff matters. And this is the chance where James Franklin might have the most talented team he's ever had. This is the chance to show that he can coach a talented team and win games like this, at Ohio State. So this is a big one. Who needs to win more though?
I mean, honestly, it's like, you know what? Two guys with like bruised egos going at it on Saturday. Okay, it's going to be pretty great to watch. But you know what? I would say Day needs to win, obviously, like just because like he's probably going to break down and cry if he doesn't. But like for Franklin, I feel like to be taken serious, this has got to be the year you step it up. Like I said, just don't do it against us, but do it. You got to do it. I think Franklin needs this win more than Day does.
Yeah, look, if Ryan Day barely wins this one, he's going to be talking in the post game like, the ghost of Joe Paterno was haunting me all week. I let the dog prove him wrong. I couldn't sleep. He was haunting me. It's floating over me like a creepy ghost. Like, that's 100% what he just looks up. I don't know. How can you be so thin-skinned? You're Ohio State's head coach. Like, just get over it, man.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Out here picking fights with, Lou Holtz. What are we doing? Who cares what these problematic old coaches think, including the ghost of Joe Bob? Anyways, regardless, I guess it's Ohio State. You got to. Here in Oklahoma, we have some we refer to as feeding the monster, where no matter how good you do, you have to win a national championship, or else everyone's pissed. Ohio State has that same monster, and I don't think Penn State does. Like they've haven't been to a national title game. Since the BCS really started, they haven't been to a playoff. Like they've made 0 playoff appearances, so they don't have the same standards. Ohio State does. It's championship or bust for Day, and he has to come through with another big win.
Yeah, you're right about that. It is championship or bust for them. And I mean, Ohio State really they need this a lot because, forget everything in between. Yeah, you face a tough Wisconsin team. Minnesota might give you a fight at the end there, but you got to go to Michigan at the end of the year, and that's not going to be, even if they were playing in Columbus, that's not an easy game, but it's a tougher game because you're going to Michigan. So it's all right, at the very least, you have to take care of this because, I mean, all signs point to the season being over if you don't win this game, because not only do you have to win that game in Michigan, but then who knows who knows what that means for playoff chances and everything like that. You're assuming whoever they play in the Big Ten championship, if they made it there, they'd be able to beat. But that's gonna be the thing for Penn State. If Penn State loses, at least you can hang your hat on, hey, maybe we beat Michigan at home. But I hate to make it that simple as who's playing Michigan at home versus away, but That's kind of like what it is.
Kind
And
of a
Penn
big
State has
deal.
the yeah. I mean, yeah, Penn State has the benefit of getting a home game in Michigan if they lose. If Ohio
I'm
State,
just glad it's not a night game. Like I'll say
yeah,
that till the cows come home because it's a way different experience. It'll still be tough going to Beaver Stadium, but
yeah,
very happy that's a
yeah,
nooner.
yeah. So, yeah, I think that's the big difference, and I think that's why Penn State needs this one more. All right, predictions. I am taking Penn State. I think I like. I just don't. I don't. I don't. I mean, when Notre Dame played Ohio State, like Ohio State did a great job of making that a dogfight. And even though the offense didn't look great, it didn't really matter because their defense was phenomenal. Can I see Ohio State doing something similar to Penn State? Sure, but I think Penn State is more balanced offensively and defensively, and so I think that if there's any chance for James Franklin and Penn State to go to upstate Ohio State, this is it.
I'm going to go opposite on this one. I like the Buckeyes. I think the home field advantage is in their favor. I think, you know, overall, this Penn State team just doesn't feel like they've been battle tested yet. They still feel a little green. And, they haven't proven it to me yet that they can, one, beat this team, and two, that they can do that. But, I think it'll be a good game. I have the Buckeyes having the edge on this one, just by that much.
So I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna really mind whatever goes the other way because these are kind of both my rivals. But I think that Ohio State is gonna be looking past Penn State a little bit too much this weekend. I really do. I think that they pull an upset and it's gonna be hilarious. I'm gonna laugh because it's gonna be in the shoe like for the second year in a row. But give me Penn State in the upset of college football weekend.
Yeah, I mean a huge upset if it happens. Um, I mean, yeah, we'll see. It should be a really, really good game. Um, I don't know. In the last couple of years, it seems like I wish I had like a full kind of game log, but it seems like a couple of teams have been able to like come and triple Ohio State up. Obviously, Michigan last year, but I think about Oregon 2 years ago, like winning that weird game in the shoe. Like Penn State might be able to do it.
Well, I just think too, it's just like how Ryan Day kind of preps this team. It's just not like Urban. Like everyone always thinks, oh, this team's for sure gonna be ready. I'm like, I've been seeing them struggle and start off slow. You can't start off slow against Penn State either. Like this is also gonna be like another big test for them. Like, don't wait until the third quarter to pop off because this team was gonna score on you. It's not, we'll see.
It's
Yeah,
always the
yeah,
non-conference ones, I feel like Oregon, OU, they lost to Virginia Tech, a bad Virginia Tech in like 2014. Like it's always the non-cons. I think they can
Yeah.
sleep on them just like they do, Maryland and Purdue and Rutgers. They can't.
yeah. Absolutely not. All right. Next game, Utah at USC. This one, I feel like felt bigger at the beginning of the year. Now it's kind of mad because USC is sort of like seen as like, all right, no longer really in the CFP conversation. They just have an uphill battle with the games on the schedule and then losing like that to Notre Dame. Utah, a lot of high hopes for them coming off back-to-back Pac-12 championships, but I'm reading articles about Cam Rising like possibly redshirting this year. It doesn't sound like he's coming back. So, very limited to what they can be without their starting quarterback. And this is a team that already has a loss, on their schedule, and still after this game has to play Oregon and at Washington, and also, obviously the frisky Colorado Buffaloes. So, who knows what their season is going to be like. But I guess the question is, can Utah go into LA and beat the Trojans without Cam Rising?
Anything's possible. I don't think they will, though. Road Utah is different than home Utah or neutral site Utah. I don't really know how to explain it. They just don't seem to have that same zip on the road that they do at home at Rice Eccles. Um, Especially with no Cam Rising, I just don't think and I'm not seriously not reverse jinxing on this one. I genuinely don't think they have that. And I feel like Lincoln Riley teams usually bounce back after bad performances. I feel like they'll be ready to go.
Yeah. I'd say like if you had Cam Rising, I'd for sure be like going into USC because this defense like just looks so weak. You know what I'm saying? But without them being able to like have him at the helm, I don't. I think it'll be close because I think just USC just is kind of weak this year, and it's just been kind of disappointing. But yeah, I don't see them winning without Cam. And it kind of sucks because, man, Cam was like on a tear last year. So to hear he's redshirting, that's a bummer.
Yeah, I don't think it's official yet, but it's like it's like we're getting to the point now.
I'm sure, yeah,
we
right.
should do it. Yeah, agree with Bobby. Like, I mean, their loss this year was at Oregon State. Tough team, tough place to play, but yeah, this is a different team on the road. I agree wholeheartedly that with the loss at Notre Dame plus Lincoln Riley, I feel like they're going to be ready to go out and just go gangbusters on this Utah team, and I feel like they're going to be really like motivated to go out and win this game. So I don't see Utah being able to overcome those obstacles. So I kind of agree with you guys there. So I mean, with this sort of in line for USC, this is going to be a tough game. And then looking at their schedule, they've got Washington at home, at Oregon, UCLA as well, and they get a bye week for some reason the last week of the season before a possible Pac-12 championship bid. Like, what are some reasonable expectations for the Trojans moving forward?
I mean, I just say to make like a decent bowl game at this point. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not going to make the playoffs, but you better not be falling like any further. Losing like even more than two more games is just unacceptable. So I just say one loss at the very most at this point would just be what they should do, nothing less.
Yeah, I mean, a New Year's Six Bowl and a Pac-12 championship appearance at this point would be a really big accomplishment, genuinely. What the fight they have ahead of them, the type of teams in the Pac-12 this year that they have ahead of them, it's going to be a grind, to say the least. So I think you can find a way. And again, they lost to Notre Dame. That doesn't count in the Pac-12 race. So they could take another loss and still win the Pac, and still be in contention for the Pac. They have kind of the inside track there. If they can win the Pac-12 or be competitive for the Pac-12 and go to a New Year's Six Bowl, try not to lose to Tulane again, then yeah, I would say that's a pretty good season for them.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, your loss to Notre Dame was not a conference loss. So, I mean, it doesn't really affect anything in the Pac-12. It just kind of affects your overall record. So, yeah, Pac-12 championship appearance. I feel like if I'm a USC fan, I'm hoping that somehow that is the bare minimum, and then maybe at the end of the year, with all the craziness that's already happened, maybe USC, Ohio State's their way into the college football playoff, or does it by winning the Pac-12 championship or whatever. So
I'll say this: if they win out and win the Pac-12, I think they should get in because I think they will have won some really remarkable games to get there. I think, obviously, with help, but I would say I would rather have a one-loss USC champion and then the loser of the game, a one-loss loser of the game. I think you give the Pac-12 champion with one loss the nod over, let's say, one-loss Ohio State, just because I think what they would have had to do to get there would have been more impressive, even with that just horrible loss that they just took in South Bend. And again, there's so much that can play out, but I would give USC the lot less USC the edge in that 1-1 scenario.
I would agree, but I think it just depends on what happens with like the rest of the conferences because you could easily have an undefeated Georgia, Michigan, Oklahoma, and like Florida State, and then now
Right.
Michigan doesn't really have a shot because all those are going to be undefeated conference champions.
But if there's a couple one losses, they'll probably be like considered higher than what those other ones would be. You're right, though.
I also think there's no way they're getting away with just one loss. I just don't see it. There's just no way. They have to go at Oregon. You saw that game, that Oregon-Washington game? Imagine that, like, for that team, but at home. Like, they're going to get totally toasted. Bo Nix is going to come
that defense is going to get shredded.
It's going to be so ugly. Oh, my God. Yeah.
All right.
And even with like all the crazy calls Dan Lanning makes, he's still gonna get that win.
Yeah. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for sure. All right. Predictions for this one. I've got USC again for the reasons I just said. I think.
I don't know why I put you.
Yeah, they're just in a good bounce back spot, and no Cam Rising. I think it's gonna be an uphill battle for Utah. So yeah, give me the Trojans.
Yeah, when I typed that in, I thought it was like at Utah, and then I looked again. I'm like, oh yeah, maybe USC.
Yeah, it's USC in this one. I think it's going to be a little bit closer. It won't be easy for them. That defense will be right in Caleb Williams' face all day long, but ultimately no Rising, just not enough offense to win that ball game.
Yeah, there you have it. All right, on to the NFL. This is like the third week in a row where we're going to talk about the Lions. And this is probably the first time where Lexi's actually here. Talk about the Lions. We did like the two days we missed over the past couple of weeks. We had the Lions on the schedule, and so we had finally have them again.
Work conferences and traveling. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. All right, so yeah, we get the Lions in this game at the Ravens. Pretty big game for the NFL weekend. And really, I mean, I think there's like a couple of different dynamics. Both teams are kind of banged up. Ravens are favorite Ravens are favorite -3 at home. Over under is 42. Both teams have good defenses. Both teams have been winning some pretty scrappy games. But really, the biggest question I have for this one is like, who has the edge in this game? Is it Lamar Jackson, who has seemingly been able to make things happen? Albeit not great numbers, or the Lions defense, who is, getting after people. We got people talking about Aiden Hutchinson as DPOY. Like, who has the edge in this game?
This Lions defense, and this is just speaking from like even any perspective, is just going to suffocate. And even with Lamar is my guy, and I've always enjoyed him, but you got the pressure from our line. You got Hutch coming off the edge. Brian Branch is going to be coming back. So you got Jack Campbell. There's just so many weapons in this defense that are going to be terrorizing you nonstop. Now, I think he's going to probably end up, not doing horrible because I think he can move quick on his feet and he can throw the ball well. But it's going to be tough for him. I'm taking this Lions defense, taking the edge.
Yeah, Lions defense all the way. They've just been so incredibly solid. Feels special, feels magical. Not just trying to be nice. These crowds you're seeing on the road, like it's just genuinely one of the best feel good stories I've seen in the NFL in a while. Look, this one's on the road as well in Baltimore. I don't see any difference any reason why they won't be out in full force again either.
No, I know a ton of people going to that game, and they travel everywhere together. So it's really cool. I've been waiting all my life for this.
Yeah, we've seen Lions fans traveling all over the place this year. That's been really cool to see. So I'll tell you my answer. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I'll tell you my. No, you're good. You're good. I'll tell you my answer. I have Lamar Jackson as my starting quarterback in fantasy. And I have Sam Howell on the bench. The Commanders are playing Atlanta this week, and obviously the Ravens are playing the Lions. I benched Lamar Jackson this week for Sam Howell because I think that is going to be a better matchup. Even though Lamar Jackson's a way better quarterback, I just think Lamar Jackson's going to have a tough time against this Lions defense. From a fantasy perspective, if you are like me, you have Lamar, I would definitely pick somebody else because Lamar's fantasy numbers haven't been like terrible, but they haven't been like great. And this defense, I think, is going to be an issue for him. The pass rush, and he's going to make things happen. We know that, but like I don't love this matchup against the Lions. With the Ravens' lack of weapons and things, it just makes it harder for a team like the Ravens to go out and win this game. So yeah, give me the Lions defense. I have them to the edge, and I am putting Lamar on the bench in fantasy for Sam Howell. So that should tell you everything you need to know about this game. All right. Predictions. Clean sweep. We're taking the Lions.
Gosh. It just doesn't feel real. Sometimes I'm like, pinch me. Is this real life? Like everyone's just loving us and giving the praise. But yeah, it's earned. This team's going to be 6-1 after this weekend. So let's go.
I was watching like a little bit of First Take this morning, and Stephen A. does like his A-list.
Yeah, I recorded that.
The Lions were his number one team on his A-list, so I was happy for you. I was like, oh, that's awesome, congrats. My Super Bowl pick is alive and well.
Yes.
All right, cool. All right, let's move on to our last game. The Dolphins at the Eagles. Eagles favorite -2, over under 52. I have been weary about the Eagles all year on this show, if you've been watching, and they just lost to the Jets and Zach Wilson. The Eagles are like looking very shaky. Obviously, that's a lot of factors. You have injuries, you have losing coordinators, which is always a tough game. But that said, the Eagles are still a really good team. Their record, I'm finding it right now, is still really good. What is it?
They should be 5-1 too.
Yeah, 5-1, 5-1. So yeah, 2 5-1 teams facing each other. 5-1 Dolphins versus 5-1 Eagles in Philadelphia. This is a night game. Are these the two best teams in the NFL?
I think we saw the two best teams on the first game of the year. Against Kansas City's been looking great. The Lions have been looking great. I mean, it's just been last week was so funky, so weird, with the Eagles taking a bad loss to the Jets, the Niners taking a weird, gross loss to the Browns. Yeah, man. I think the Bills are really good. I think it's the Bills, Chiefs, Lions. That's it. And very weird to say it. Which of these ones is not like the other, it feels like, but the Lions belong in that race. And I'm not even just trying to be nice. They're that good.
Love it. No, I it's hard for me to say Dolphins because they got blown out. I don't see the Lions getting blown out. I don't even see Kansas City like they lost a close one. No. And Eagles are kind of funky this year. I don't think they're as dominant as they were last year. So I would still put the Niners to be a really tough team, especially that defense, but it's definitely Chiefs and Lions for me for the top two.
Yeah, in the AFC, the Dolphins, I mean, bar none, they have the best offense in the NFL. I think the Chiefs' offense is I think Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are putting Band-Aids on it and making it look okay, but I have a lot of issues with their lack of pass catchers and their depth on offense. And so I think the Dolphins safely, to me, have the best offense in the NFL. Even the Niners, Brock Purdy is I would say the Dolphins have the best offense, the best team. Their defense is great, but I think they're more offense driven. The Eagles, as I've said all year, I was concerned about all the close wins. They don't look as dominant as you guys have said. So I would say the best team in the NFC to me are the Lions because of the balance they have, and I like Jared Goff more than I like Brock Purdy. I think like injuries, uh, affect every team, but with the Niners, like if like one of Debo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, you name it, like if even one of those guys are out of the lineup, it just seems like they can't function offensively well enough. I
Mhm.
feel like in the NFC, the Lions just have it more together on both sides of the ball. I don't like their coach. In the AFC, the Chiefs just like are the Chiefs, but again, I have some issues trusting them. The Buffalo Bills, I got trust issues with. Um, who else? The who's in the North? Yeah, the Ravens. Like I got some trust issues with. So it's tougher, but I would say the Chiefs, but Dolphins like by far to me have the best offense in the league, and the Eagles probably are like a top 5 team maybe, but not the cream of the crop this year for sure. All right, so the last question I'll pose to you folks for this game is, speaking of the Dolphins, like what is their ceiling? Um, the AFC East sort of looks like it's up for grabs with the Bills sort of playing well enough but not great. Um, that like we'll see what happens with the Jaguars, the Trevor Lawrence's injuries. The Chiefs, like we said, offensively don't look like they have a lot of depth. So like, how far can this Dolphins team go?
Me and my cousin, he's a diehard Dolphins fan. We joked about like meeting each other in the Super Bowl, and like that was like in the summertime. And it's serious though. Like I mean, I think that if they keep their shit together, avoid injuries, why couldn't they make it all the way? Like you said, that offense is firing on like all cylinders. So yeah, we'll see.
Lost my mute button there for a second. I mean, I could see the Dolphins getting hot and making a Super Bowl run. I really could. Um, I think that's what's just so beautiful about the NFL right now. The amount of parity, the amount of teams that can win it, that can get hot, that can do this. It's just such a relief, such a different vibe than the Brady era, where it was the Patriots every year, or it just this is way more fun. I love parity in sports. Big fan of what we have going on here. So yeah, I think the Dolphins definitely can get there. I think we need to see them kind of get hot, but we'll see how it goes. They haven't had the playoff performance to back it up, unlike the Bengals, who probably won't be a problem, the Chiefs and the Bills, who have gone on runs. But we'll see how it goes.
I think we'll know the answer to this question after they go play the Chiefs. I believe in Germany. I think that's an international game. Um, that's on November 5th. Yeah, it's in Frankfurt, Germany. So, I mean, obviously, like international games are always like kind of tough, but like they're gonna play the best team in their conference when they go face the Chiefs out there, and that'll tell us a lot about both of the teams. I think winning that game will do a lot for them, but even being competitive will show us, okay, the Dolphins are are a team that can be reckoned with in the playoffs. Um, I don't expect whoever wins the AFC North or whoever wins the AFC South to go that far in the playoffs. I think there's too many. I think the Bengals look shaky. I think the Ravens are shaky. I think the whoever comes out of the South is going to be mad. So I think really the teams that you look out for are the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Dolphins. And the Dolphins still have to play the Bills again. They did take a big loss to them earlier this year in Buffalo, but they'll get the Bills again and look at the Chiefs. And they'll have some other tough opponents like the Titans, the Cowboys, and the Ravens as well. So I think their schedule lines up for them to win a lot of games, but that game in a couple of weeks against the Chiefs and this game this weekend against the Eagles as well. Like both of those games, like those are the opportunities for the Chiefs to prove that they can really like how high their ceiling really is. And to me, I can see them making the Super Bowl run, but we'll know especially after these next couple games. All right, so predictions. Another clean sweep. We just talked well about the Dolphins, but I think the Eagles are going to win this game. My reasons, good team. You get embarrassed by the Jets. You gotta come back on your home field and show everybody that you're still those guys. So I just
that's exactly it.
yeah, good bounce back spot for Philly here. A team like the Dolphins, like that's the other thing I need to see them like. I need to see them go on the road to an environment like Philadelphia at night and go beat them. Like that'll be a big test if they win the game. But I just don't see it. I'm picking the Eagles.
Yep, they'll bounce back, Eagles.
Yep. They're not going to win 2 in a row or lose 2 in a row, especially with like it being at home. I'd be scared to be like in Philly if that happened.
Yeah, 100%. All right, we're going to go rapid fire with some more games. Like we say, we only dive deep into about 4 games. We'd like to cover some other games that you guys might be watching this weekend. So let's get into it. Starting with Duke at Florida State. Riley Leonard's status is up in the air. I didn't realize this because I wasn't watching the game, but I guess Duke's game against Florida State, the backup for Riley Leonard at Duke, whose name I will get in a second, only completed 4 passes, and they beat NC State 24-3. So that's impressive, but not going to beat Florida State and Florida State. Beeline, I guess this is his name. I don't have his first name, but anyway, that only completed 4 passes. 2 of those were touchdowns. One of those was an interception. So kind of wild that if you're NC State, you got to be feeling really down bad because you lost to a quarterback that only completed 4 passes. But yeah, not going to work against Florida State. They're going to have to hope that Riley Leonard's ankle heals. But if it does not, I don't see a way that Duke wins this game. Their defense can do a lot, but they're going to need some offense to be able to go into Tallahassee and win. So I'm picking Florida State.
Yeah, it's FSU all the way here. Keon Coleman looks to be a Biletnikoff winner, if you ask me. Just an incredible ball player. Has taken this team to an entirely different level. Seminoles, big.
I'm so glad he left Michigan State. So yeah, give me Florida State all day because they're on fire.
All right, next game, not a ranked matchup, but kind of interesting. Clemson's still trying to have some semblance of pride this year, facing a Miami team who suffered back-to-back tough losses. We know Miami's home environment isn't great, but Miami's still a pretty good team. Offensively, I think this is where they clean up some of the mistakes and they bounce back. I like what Miami is offensively a little bit better than Clemson, so I think Miami will shock the world and beat Clemson in their wherever they play, South Florida.
Yeah,
Coral Gables
or
whatever city is not actually Miami, but whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. No. I'll say this: don't sleep on little old Clemson. Dabo's back in his little folksy mode where he's like, these folks these days don't understand that winning 10 games is a blessing. So I think Clemson. Look, that's pretty much what he's saying. Yeah, then he said some essentially that in the presser this week. But yeah, no, Clemson. I think they're sneaky. They still have a little bit of bite to them. Not the same team we're used to, but I think they get a win against Miami.
Yeah, I can't take Miami serious enough to be like, you're going to beat Clemson even if it is at home. Just, it's just never a home environment alone too. So yeah, give me Clemson all day. The folksy thing killed me though.
That's funny. All right. Next rapid fire. Oregon having to face another Washington team. This time it's Washington State in Austin. Uh, I'm taking Oregon. I just think tough loss for them, but they need to bounce back, and they know they still just like we talked about with USC, still have a chance to go to the Pac-12 championship. And once you get there, you never know what's going to happen with the rest of the country. So I'm picking Oregon to get this win.
Yeah,
they'll be punishing them.
This game looked good a week ago. It looks like stale bread now after Washington State got absolutely the doors blown off of them by unranked Arizona. Ducks big.
Yeah.
Okay. Another game. Yeah, my bad. I said the U. I'm not good. Anyway. All right. Sorry. Okay. Another game that probably could have been big to start the year. Still important. I think it has implications for the SEC West and the SEC East race, kind of. But Tennessee going to play Alabama, who looks like they're back on track a little bit. Been in a lot of close games, like not really. The Alabama dominance seems like completely gone. Like they've been in some dog fights with South Florida and Arkansas and A&M. So like, that's their kind of their mode now, just to grind out and win these close games. Tennessee, looking to stay on track, but I just don't see how they do it in Tuscaloosa. I like Jalen Milroe a little bit more than Milton, and I think that Tennessee is going to have a good year, but I think Alabama takes care of business here, knowing that if they, are able to get to the SEC championship or, in the year with one loss, they'll have something to say about the CFP as well. So give me Alabama.
Yeah, I'm taking Bama here. Like you said, Tennessee's going to do pretty good, but it's not, I love Joe Milton, I wish him the best and stuff, but there's just still not enough consistency from him where I'm like, oh, wow, you're going to go into Alabama and you're going to win that game. So, no, Saban gets these guys ready and takes care of business.
Insert the Undertaker gif where he's just like popping out of the little, the one. Alabama, I think a lot of people are ready to jump on their graves, and I understand that, but they're just not dead yet. I think the Tide win big here, motivated, big rivalry here. They're still pissed off about last year, I imagine. So they're not going to let the Vols smoke them cigars in Bryant-Denny, I tell you that.
All right, this one's fun. We got a ranked Air Force team, number 22 in the country, going to face their bitter rival, Navy, who's 3-3.
Let's go. Mountain West love on the weekenders. I am so happy about this.
Yeah, we gotta spread the love around the country, man. There's good teams all over the place.
Support the troops.
Air Force is one of those teams, and I'm as much as I was willing to show love to the Mountain West in this show, I'm not even gonna pretend I know anything about Air Force, but I will give them the win here against Navy. I think they keep it going. Shout out to them for making the top 25.
Yeah, Air Force all day, run it.
Yeah, no, the Air Force Falcons, big win last week against Wyoming, who just came off a big win against Fresno State. It's a just awesome dogfight out there in the Mountain West. Very exciting conference this year. But Air Force, very, very superior triple option, military academy here. Navy just has not been very good. Air Force all the way.
All right, to the NFL for the last rapid picks. Steelers at Rams, sort of an interesting game. Both teams sort of like middle of the road, 3-3 versus 3-2 team. Steelers coming to LA, might be a Steelers crowd, even though the Rams are well liked over here. Offensively, I think the Rams got it. Cooper Kupp's back. Steelers going to be tough defensively, but that offense is putrid. Give me the Rams.
Yeah. I got some friends that are Steeler fans, and it's like they're crying over that offense every week, and like you said, Rams are starting to click. Cooper Kupp being back is going to be exciting. So give me LA.
Rams back. LA all the way.
All right, last rapid fire. Chargers at Chiefs. Chargers. Uh,
I can't say Chiefs fast enough. Okay.
yeah, disappointed once again. Justin Herbert helped me out in a couple of ways that were great for me personally, but not good for my agenda. I love Herbert. For those who don't know, but yeah, I think the Chargers. You know what? Offensively, I think they really do like. I think they really could have an edge offensively here, but their defense is not good enough to be able to hang with the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Give me the Chiefs.
Yep. To quote the great Tech Nine, KC Mo roll Chiefs.
Oh, one of a kind.
All right.
One of a kind.
All right, on to lock of the week. So Lexi's on a roll last week.
How many weeks?
Won another
5 in a row.
Won another lock of the week and got herself 10 points way ahead of the leaderboard. Lexi's got 10 points this year to my 6 and Bobby's 4. Yeah, won another one last week with USC taking the over, on USC Notre Dame. Felt like a very obvious over, but I mean, I'm sure you had to be worried there when USC wasn't scoring any points, and then Notre Dame just got 48, and the USC had sort of like a backdoor 20 in garbage time. Like that helped you out a lot, but very, very, very good win there for Lexi, and yeah, Bobby, Lincoln Riley Savant knew what was coming. He had Notre Dame minus 2.5, so he got a win for him to get him up from 2. And then I, picked Oregon, and again, a couple of fourth down calls, and they missed field goal away from my 3-week lock of the week streak. But unfortunately, I'll take that L, and that was last week. So this week. Lexi, our streaking lady, why don't you go ahead with your offers?
I have just been a lover of the overs lately. And Dolphins Eagles is at 52, and I just feel like between those two offenses, that's super low. So give me the over. That's the lock. Over 52 points for the Dolphins Eagles.
Yeah, I'm going to take this off air because I got to get down the street and watch Giannis and Chet go head-to-head in the preseason for 4 minutes, and then just a bunch of scrubs. Look, I want Ohio State to lose. I really do. I'm tired of them. It would be kind of fun to see Penn State in the college football playoff. But that's just not going to happen. Give me the Buckeyes minus 4 as my lock of the week.
All right. And, on this, note, I know Utah was my preseason, CFP pick, but I just don't see how they beat USC here. USC is probably the best bet to win, maybe of any team, in our 4 that we talked about today. And, taking a loss to Notre Dame, knowing what's at stake, Lincoln Riley, Caleb Williams, I think they get this win. So I will lock in USC to beat Utah in downtown LA. So those are the locks of the week. We'll see how we do. Come back and see if Bobby and I can catch up to Lexi, who's on fire these past weeks. And we'll see what happens. Everybody, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out other Multiplicity Media content. There's a lot of good stuff on this channel. And we will see you next week with more on the Weekenders. Peace.